Has history been tampered with? Yes, it has. Did events and eras such as the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, the Roman Empire, the Dark Ages, and the Renaissance actually occur within a very different chronology from what we've been told? Yes, they certainly did. The history of humankind is both drastically shorter and dramatically different than generally presumed. Why is it so? On one hand, it was usual custom to justify the claims to title and land by age and ancestry. And on the other, the court historians knew only too well how to please their masters. The so-called universal classic world history is a pack of intricate lies for all events prior to the 16th century. World history as we learn it today was entirely fabricated in the 16th–18th centuries. It's likely that nobody told you before, but there is not a single piece of firm written evidence or artifact that is reliably and independently dated prior to the 11th century. Naturally, after what you've learned in school and university, you will not easily believe that the classical history of ancient Rome, Greece, Asia, Egypt, China, Japan, India, etc., is manifestly false. You will point an accusing finger to the pyramids in Egypt, to the Colosseum in Rome and Great Wall of China, etc., and claim, aren't they really ancient, thousands of years ancient? Well, there is no valid scientific proof that they are older than 1,000 years. The oldest original written document that can be reliably dated belongs to the 11th century. New research asserts that Homo sapiens invented writing including hieroglyphics only 1,000 years ago. Once invented, writing skills were immediately and irreversibly put to the use of ruling powers in science. The consensual chronology we live with was essentially crafted in the 16th century by Jesuits. The world history was compiled from contradictory mix of innumerable copies of ancient Latin and Greek manuscripts and other irrefutable proofs delivered by late medieval astronomers that were cemented by the authority of writings of the Church Fathers. Early in life, we learned about ancient history. Children love the magical lessons of history, they are like fairy tales. Very soon we learn by heart the names and deeds of brave warriors, wise philosophers, fabulous pharaohs, cunning high priests and greedy scribes. We learn of gigantic pyramids and sinister castles, kings and queens, dukes and barons, powerful heroes and beautiful ladies, emaciated saints and low-life traders. Ancient history is based on documents, manuscripts, printed books, paintings, monuments and artifacts called primary sources. The problem is that neither these primary sources, nor events described therein can be irrefutably dated. Moreover, they contradict each other for the most part. When a school textbook tells us that Genghis Khan in year X or Alexander in year Y have each conquered half of the world, it means only that it is so said in some of the written sources. There are no answers to simple questions. When were these primary sources written? Where and by whom were these primary sources found? It is presumed that ancient and medieval chronicles, written by Genghis Khan's or Alexander the Great contemporaries and eyewitnesses, are readily available. Actually, only sources written hundreds or even thousands of years after the events are there, compiled mostly in the 16th–18th centuries, or even later. As a rule, these sources suffered considerable multiple manipulations, falsifications and distortions by editing. At the same time, innumerable originals of ancient documents were destroyed in Europe under various pretexts. The names of persons and geographical sites often change meaning and location during the course of the centuries. Geographical locations became clearly defined on maps only with the advent of printing. This made possible the circulation of identical copies of the same map for purposes of the military, navigation, education and governance tasks. Historians from Oxford say, hey, everybody knows that Julius Caesar lived in the 1st century BC. Julius Caesar's statement is only a point of view, as there is simply no irrefutable documentary proof that Julius Caesar or any other great name of antiquity ever existed. Better than that, extremely rare sources that can be reliably dated back to the 10th–14th centuries AD, do not show the polished picture of classical history. They show a picture both contradictory and confusing. All methods of dating of ancient sources and artifacts are erroneous. Radiocarbon C14 method produces dating with exactitude of ± 1500 years, therefore it is too crude for dating of events in historical time frame. The Almagest Tractate, which lies as cornerstone of contemporary chronology, compiled in the 2nd century AD by Ptolemy, the founding father of astronomy, contains astronomical data of 9th to 16th century. The Bronze Age, that has supposedly begun 5,000 years ago. Bronze is made of 90% copper and 10% tin, but the technology for tin extraction dates back 14th century AD. All eclipses contained in manuscripts, like Thucydides I, relating ancient events have exclusively medieval dating. All horoscopes cut in stone or painted in Egyptian temples, like Dendera, have exclusively early medieval dating solutions. Not quite what you have learned in school? Open your eyes, and you will find sufficient proof to reach step by step the inevitable conclusion that the classical chronology is false, and therefore, that the history of ancient and medieval world universally accepted today, is also false. Have a fresh outlook on everything said or printed about ancient and enigmatic Roman, Greek and Egyptian, medieval as well as all other lost and found civilizations. Antiquity and Dark Ages are fantasy and hoax invented in the 16th, 18th and polished in 19th, 20th centuries. Human civilization is barely 1,000 years old,